Well, good afternoon, lady and gentlemen. I'm delighted that I'm here in Valencia with James and Trish. We're at the Inteletravel travel agency conference here in fantastic part of Spain. James, let's come to you first. James, certainly the impression I get from this conference and everything that's been said and reported, it's a sea change for Inteletravel UK. Would you agree?
Well, I think it's actually consistent with Inteletravel UK and our um, plans and our approach from the beginning. I think the sea change might be in how other people see us.
Okay, but you've come up with some big figures, some very impressive sales figures. You've come
Yes.
out with the news that Atoll is, I know it's been heard for a long time, it's imminent, but this time it really is going to happen.
Yes.
And the big new office and the admin team and everything else. I mean, it does
Oh,
seem
yes.
like a big, a leap forward. And I wouldn't underestimate the importance of this conference because it's gone exceptionally smoothly from the beginning. I know we're not right at the end, but it has gone very smoothly, and the presentations and your presentations and Trish's presentations are all very good.
Thank you. Yes, it has, and that is because of Tricia and her team and their work. So preparation is always the key. Um, and yes, what you say, of course, is true. But remember that we also had a great year in 2020. As odd as that sounds, and as unusual as it sounds, the figures that we presented for 2021 are are not really different from the figures that we ended 2020 with. This kind of performance, these kinds of results, are allowing us to invest even further in the business. So, new contact center and support here in the UK, new offices, new additions to our admin team. But this has been our plan all along. Tricia and I discussed these things when we met. So things are going according to plan.
Very, very good. Now, I know you mentioned again in your presentation that you now have 10,500 agents in the UK, which is the UK's now largest home networking travel company. Um, and I know you also said it's not really about the numbers; it's about what they sell and how much they sell.
Right. It's about a different number. It's
Yeah.
not about the number of agents, it's about the travel sales.
But do you have in your mind a limit to the number of agents that you would have in the UK?
I think that's dictated by the market. I'm not sure how many people are out there who are interested in becoming an agent. I really don't. You've heard me say this. My projection when we started this was for 5,000 agents in the UK. I thought that would be the number. We've already doubled it. So apparently I'm not the expert on this.
Okay, Trish, let's come to you. You now have 60, I think it's 60 suppliers in your
61.
61 suppliers in your catalogue. You mentioned the phrase credibility has been heightened for the Inteletravel network through the things I've mentioned, the Atoll, big figures, conference, etc., etc. Do you think that will will you be adding to that supplier list? Do you think it will make your job as running the UK for Inteletravel easier?
I'm not sure that it'll make it easier, Graham, but it'll certainly add to the preferred supply list. What's really surprised me is that not just with my own networking and black book of suppliers, I think I underestimated how much the suppliers talk to each other. So little do I know that there's lots of chatter going on about Inteletravel, and actually that's prompting suppliers to come to me rather than me going in search of supplies. So it's real role reversal from 2 years ago. So yes, it will grow, but to James's point, there has to come a point where if everybody's a preferred supplier, then nobody's preferred. So
Sure.
I think we do have to be selective on the amount of support and the training that these partners will offer us to allow our agents to sell and generate, great revenues for them. So yeah, I think we've got more of a portfolio, and actually, right now I've got about 4 contracts sitting on my desk waiting to be signed off, and when I get back I'll give that some attention. But for me now, we need to start looking where the real gaps are, what do we need to fill. But already we've got a huge range of products. So, and that was a strategy in the early days. And James and I discussed this back in, when was it, years ago now, nearly 3.5 years ago in the States. As you know, cruise is huge, and over here at that time we were a much more diverse audience. So for me it was more important to have a very wide portfolio that offered as much sales opportunity as possible, and I think that's what we've done, and I'll just continue to analyse that gap
Sure.
and see what we need to fill. And then it's really focusing on productivity. What do we need to do to improve the productivity for those partners?
And presumably, James, there may be economies of scale you can get here if you start some of those gaps in the supply chain that you may be able to fill. For example, Caribbean hotel groups, maybe. There could be economies of scale that you can not only benefit from yourself, but your agents can benefit from as well.
Sure, and that's part of the Inteletravel model, is that we do bring volume to the table, even in other markets, in the US and Mexico and Canada, where we can use that volume to negotiate with our suppliers who also service this market. So it does bring great advantages to agents and to us. I mean, it puts money in everyone's pocket. Trish's knowledge of the marketplace has really been the key for us here. I mean, I'm no expert in the UK travel market, and my famous example that we joke about is when she was looking at the portfolio and decided to bring in a Lapland supplier, and I thought, really?
You're
Are
thinking
you
of something
joking?
different. Yeah.
No, what is that? How important could that be? That's what my response was.
Sure.
And she proved me very wrong.
Good. One of the big announcements here was that you're going to move into Ireland.
Yes.
It's not a huge cultural jump, but there is a jump into Ireland with different currency, different public holidays, etc., and different culture, basically. But are there things that you've learnt in your implementation of Inteletravel in the UK that you will deploy in your Irish effort?
Sure. In all of our international work, we learned to rely on in-market expertise. So here, the team in the UK is a dream team, really, between Joanna Colatsis and Chris Fody and Trisha and her team. I mean, they were the key to getting us operating here in the UK. I'm not sure who that would be in Ireland or whether or not that's a large enough move to require, but generally speaking, we look to real in-market expertise for expansion.
Good. Final question, Trish. You've been the lady at the head of this conference, really. You've spoke to me some time ago about the plans for it and how excited you were. It's gone exceptionally smoothly, as I mentioned earlier at coffee. Where's next year?
My lips are sealed.
Oh, come on, it's only me and whoever's
The
listening.
strategy's always been overseas, nearer to home. Overseas, nearer to home, because then we want to make sure that our conference is accessible to everyone. And we have to recognise it's been a tough year for agents. So all I'm going to say is next year it will be closer to home. It will still be as fabulous with the attention to detail, and we will be on the boundaries.
Good. So Docklands, here we come. Thank you very much. I wish you the very best of luck.
Thank you, Graham.